in one of the most remote places on Earth, an outback mining town, hundreds of kilometres from the nearest capital city.
Couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
Broken Hill's emergency department
Saw there.
copes with the extraordinary.
Seen scorpion stings, snake bites, spider bites.
Its patients are those tough enough to call this harsh place home.
I've got a broken leg. I've got horses booked in to come over the next few weeks.
Each day brings the devastating lows.
This was my worst nightmare.
I still well up, and you just kind of swallow it and keep going.
And remarkable highs.
Thank you very much.
The most satisfying part for me is seeing someone get well and go home is wonderful.
Thank you, thank you.
That can only come when you live in the middle of nowhere.
I first saw the place, to be honest, it was a breath of fresh air because you drive through hours of nothing, just hours of goats and emus on the side of the road and nothing. And then all of a sudden this town just pops up from nowhere.
You see this huge mining equipment. You've got the slag heap in the background.
The slag heap means something totally different where I come from. I noticed that the street names were named after metals. I'm a huge fan of that. I have a real fondness for it.
In the last 5 years, Dad's been on oxygen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He's got like emphysema, which they say it originated from up in the mines, working in the dust and that back in the 50s and 60s and whatever. And yeah, it's just an illness he's got, and he'll never get better from it, and he'll eventually die from it.
Has he had any fevers at home?
You had a fever at all? No. No.
Joseph is in emergency after his son realised the 80-year-old was struggling with a chronic chest infection.
We'll pop you back on the mask, OK? You're just a touch low. Joseph's had recurrent presentations for chronic respiratory disease. Even though he's not too bad at the moment, you've got to anticipate that he will deteriorate further, so it's very important that we get on top of his symptoms and treat him thoroughly straight away. OK, let's whack some nebs in. You're going to give him 5 straight off the bat.
I'm getting worried about it.
You're getting worried about it? It's all right.
Getting hot.
You're getting hot. You're a bit sweaty, I am.
Yeah.
Being in Joseph's situation is absolutely terrifying. You've got a large amount of adrenaline circulating in your body, and essentially, even though you're trying to breathe harder and harder, you're just unable to do it because of the disease that's affecting your lungs. It's like being trapped underwater and not being able to breathe. Your body's in overdrive, you become tachycardic and have a fast heart rate, you become flushed, there's adrenaline circulating through your body. It triggers a response of absolute fear and terror.
That's OK. You're all right, Joseph.
For son Jeff, this is a scene he knows all too well.
Mum died of emphysema, was caused through smoking, and she passed away 4 years ago, and she had the illness for about a 8-year period when she was in and out of intensive care and had strokes and heart attacks, and yeah, eventually killed her. And since Mum's passed away, the old man, he's just slipped further and further back. Dad and Mum were married 58 years and done everything together. Even when Mum knew she was passing away the last week and that, she just wanted somebody to look after him. When Mum did pass, he just went into total shutdown type of thing, and he finished in hospital, and we had to get him out for a funeral and all that, and he just had a breakdown, complete depression and, you know, physically, mentally, a lot. He wanted to die, basically. Yeah, you watch your mother pass away, now you're going to watch him go the same. So.
Areas like Broken Hill, where there are a lot of mines, are different to what you get in the city because of the size of the machines, the power of the machines. They're made to do big industrial jobs, and they can just as easily sever an arm or a leg. Never played pin the pinky on the miner in town, let me tell you. That's a Broken Hill special.
Ambulance officers rushed to treat a man who suffered a head injury at home.
Hello, my name's Jess. I'm with the ambulance service. Oh, thank you.
Ex-miner Ron fell when his prosthetic leg suddenly gave way.
Christ.
Won't hurt this, two,
three.
Right.
There we go.
Now get stable. Right.
Is this your walking stick?
Yeah. Now get,
Got him wrong.
get
There you
stable.
go.
You feeling lightheaded at all?
Dizzy?
You've done well.
Yeah. No, you just gotta. You're so independent, I'll tell you. When I first saw him, I thought he was a very handsome young man. Yeah. My mum and dad agreed to it all, and that's where it all started. A lot of ups and downs, but we got there.
Ron's no stranger to emergencies. 45 years ago, an accident changed his life forever.
The night of his accident was Christmas Eve. We had our son Brandel and Brad, who was 6 months old. And we bought a wading swimming pool to be set up. When Ron came home from night shift from his mine work, Ron never got home from night shift. He had the accident. That's when he lost his leg. So, yeah, it was quite a shock, Christmas Eve. And that's when it all began. What, 26, 27 years of age, and here we are now, 72. Still getting there.
G'day. Hello. Hello again. G'day. So you're Ron, are you? Yeah. G'day, I'm Phil a bit, but call me Phil or Dr. Phil or the Aussie Dr. Phil, whichever.
Oh, that's right. You stitched my hand up that time.
No, you didn't.
Remember Easter?
No.
The back of the hand?
No.
It wasn't Dr. Phil.
No, it wasn't that one, no. Why have you got a prosthesis?
Well, I had an accident on the mines and I had 9 operations here. They took it off below the knee, but gave green set in.
Oh, gee.
And they sent me to Adelaide.
No, it's tough in those mines, that's for sure. I mean, I've walked around the cemetery there just to have a look and to see the number of young fellas who died in the mines.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, gee. Okay. How long you two been married?
Too long.
Too long.
51 years.
51 years.
But been with one another since 15 years of age.
Well, when I saw her, I thought, Jesus, she's a lovely, lovely little chick, this one. When I asked her to go out, and she said, yeah, I thought, well, this is, yeah, nice, good. And then I thought after, geez, I'd like to get in your pants. No, I just thought I love her. And, yeah, I did. I always have. And
Oh, you never change.
oh, God.
What's your secret?
Oh, well, Viagra helps.
Viagra. How often? The Viagra, I mean, not the other. No. Let's have a look at your head. It's definitely gaping, got a bit of a flap there. Yeah, that'll definitely need suturing. Ron is a true Broken Hill type personality. He's worked in the mines, had a mining injury. He lost his leg as a result, but he still worked in the mines up until he retired. So, yeah, a real typical outback tough bloke. He just said, oh, well, I just lost my leg, let's get on with it.
I was lucky, I lost the leg. I'm still here. And then again, when you look at there's been quite a few fatalities on the mine, and yeah, that's life.
Right, let's go.
Got to maintain the independence.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
No worries. See you, mate.
Goodbye.
Great guy. When I first came here 2.5 years ago, I've just heard that the cemetery is an interesting place to look at, so I thought, OK, yeah, why not? It tells you a lot of the history of Broken Hill. I mean, a lot about the mining and a lot in general about how tough it was to work out here. You've got teenagers, people in their 20s, 30s, died as a result of a mining accident. And it's quite an eye-opener just to see how many young people.
Accidents were commonplace during Broken Hill's mining heyday. A century ago, over 10,000 men faced danger every day as they toiled underground.
Dad was born in Sydney and then he made his way out here to Broken Hill and then into the mines and stayed in the mines as long as he could. You know, he was one of 5 children. His father left Nan and yeah, she couldn't look after him, so she put the 3 boys in a orphanage. And Dad was there for a few years until Nan could get him back and rear him again, so yeah, he had it pretty hard as a kid growing up. Since Mum's passed away, he's lived with me for 6 months. And then eventually he wanted to go back home because he thinks that, you know, he's going back where Mum was.
So essentially what I'm looking at now is the blood test to see how much oxygen is actually in his blood, but I'm also checking to see how much carbon dioxide in his blood. He may require an escalation in his assistance with his breathing, which is the BiPAP machine, which will help open up the lungs, but also blow off the carbon dioxide, which is building up in his system. You've had this BiPAP machine before, haven't you? The big mask that blows the wind in?
Just with that.
Yeah.
He had that before, and last time he had it,
Yeah.
he was on a panic over it.
He got a bit upset. Yeah. The general treatment though is if that we can get him on it early, he might not need it. And if you get him on it early, you can have just a short hit, which can kick him back up. What we're trying to avoid here is a slippery slope. I don't want him to deteriorate to the point where he ends up in the ICU for 3 days again on that mask. So if we can get away with just a few hours of the mask, that can significantly improve him, and then he can go to the ward with just the oxygen mask.
I'll explain it to him. You know the big one they put on you before? The one I wouldn't say. Yeah, the one you didn't like. Yeah. They're going to put that on for an hour or so you don't have to have it and you don't have to go to ICU.
The mask is going to make you feel a lot better. You just got to breathe with it, okay?
1 hour.
1 hour? 1 hour and a half? Call it a deal?
If he can get away with something, he will, and try and negotiate all his life like. But so yeah, he's a pretty good negotiator and communicator, I suppose.
So the idea with you is to try and stay calm, which is hard, but the calmer and relaxed you feel, the better it will work for you.
Nervous.
I know you are, okay? But that's all right, we're all here to help you. You're doing really well. Your numbers are really good at the moment, okay? We're just doing this to prevent you going down the gurgler a bit, okay? All right. All right, we're going to put the mask on now, okay? Because you're being strapped into a tight mask that's going around your face, that's pushing air into your lungs. It's essentially the equivalent of being in a wind tunnel. The feeling of being trapped or quite claustrophobic is quite a normal and quite a common theme with patients on this. And for someone who's already distressed and scared, you can feel like you're fighting it and that someone's actually choking you.
The mask is firmly in place, but instead of improving, Joseph's condition quickly deteriorates.
Is that helping? You're still feeling tired? Okay. Just turn up his oxygen. You're all right, Joseph. Joseph was terrified from the start. His heart rate went even higher and his breathing actually became worse because he disliked the mask so much. But he's actually done worse on the BiPAP than he has just on the oxygen.
Right.
The worst case scenario here is that Joseph can have a cardiac arrest from respiratory failure because his tissues are not receiving enough oxygen.
We
We've got Faye next door. She came to the hospital today for an outpatient appointment to have her ears syringed. She attempted to go to the toilet down there and she's fallen over. As a result of the fall, she's broken her femur. Yeah, it's not pretty.
No, it's not pretty, is it at all?
So I reckon as you've gone to transfer over to the toilet and twisted a little bit, it's just popped it over. So that's what you heard crack.
I heard it crack, all right. Oh, what's that?
One of the nurses was actually walking past and heard Faye calling out. She was yelling out quite a lot and screaming for help.
Pain was terrible. Yes, it takes a bit for me to cry, but I did, I screamed. That's where it's fractured the bone. There was 2 cracks, you know, when it happened. It looks like it's one of those kids' bike ramps, you know. But I tell you what, it's not funny, it hurts.
Like many Broken Hill residents, Faye's had a long-term love affair with the town.
I love everything except the mines. My husband was killed underground. Was drilling to put rock bolts in to hold this big stone that was sort of hanging. He put one rod in and they'd moved him around to put the next one in, and when they did, the first one broke and the rock came down on him. The last thing he said to me when he was going, I kissed him at the gate, and I said to him, "Be careful, don't worry about me, only the good die young, I'll live to be 100, though his last words ever spoken to me. Yes, that was 34 years ago.
Faye's break is so bad, she's to be flown to Adelaide for treatment. She'll need pain relief for the journey, but finding a vein is proving impossible.
So we're going to put a PICC line in, okay? So it's exactly the same as a cannula, only it takes a lot more fiddling around. I use the ultrasound machine and it's in one of the deeper veins, and I feed up a big plastic tube which goes up and around and down near your heart, okay? That way we don't have to worry about doing all these tiny little ones and blowing your veins all the time, okay?
That's a better idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So the risks associated with it, okay, are you can get a risk of infection. There can be sometimes a risk when the tip of the end goes near the heart going into a funny rhythm, and sometimes the end of it can go up into your neck. So at one point when I get it in, I'll say to you, can you put your chin on your shoulder, okay, and that blocks the little vessels that go up into your neck to try and minimise it going up there. I'll put a big shield over the top of you. It may feel a little bit claustrophobic, but we'll have one of the nurses there and you might be able to breathe out the other side just to get a bit of fresh air, okay? Do you have any questions?
It's pretty well clear. A little bit scared when the heart business, you know, I think, oh, my dad died of a cardiac arrest and my mum died of a heart attack. But it'll be that unlucky, I hope not anyway.
I think working in emergency, you can see the full spectrum of human populations. You see the kind of the best and the worst.
I've seen people where I've seen them the night before at a nightclub and the next morning they've come in and they've broken their ankle because they've jumped off of a couch at said nightclub. A young man who'd come in pissed, so drunk, couldn't remember where he'd left his shoes. So we stopped him vomiting over his girlfriend.
I can stitch this myself.
Hey, do you want to be in? No, don't.
I can do it myself.
See, Mark, you want to go home, don't you?
Yeah, I want to go now.
All right, but let's just, can we just get this done and you just stay nice and still, okay?
31-year-old Mark has a gash to his forehead after a skate park prank that didn't quite go to plan.
He'd put himself in a shopping trolley and they'd pushed him down off a skate ramp and he'd flipped and hit his head.
Mark allergic to anything?
The doctors.
So doctors, uh-oh. There's a lot of challenges in any emergency department with patients like these because they're intoxicated, they're combative.
But please, it doesn't even need stitched up anyway.
It does need to be stitched, Mark.
No.
Yeah, it does.
It's going to be open in 5 minutes anyway.
Luckily for Dr. Nicole, Mark's been distracted.
Lovely eyes. Where's your husband?
He's at home with the kids.
Mate, I wouldn't be out here with the kids after the missus like that.
You should drink more. The more you drink, the better we look.
Yeah, that's why I get drunk, man, so I can say to my missus, good, you look nice.
So the thing is, when you chat and chat and chat, you keep moving your head. So how about you, this is going to be quiet time, we get it stitched, and then you can tell us some more stories.
Oh, my eye.
Do you want me to put a stitch through your eye? I'd prefer it to put through your mouth. We might have to stitch a few lips. Quiet time's not going so well. You're just... Oh, Mark! Okay, seriously, playtime's over. Come on. Sewing up that cut was only part of what we needed to do. The second part was to watch him and make sure that, you know, he's still alert and, you know, not having any adverse effects of having that big head injury.
Because me and you together one day.
Tetanus.
Mark's dreaming. Wake up, you're dreaming, Mark.
Am I dreaming
Just
or
a
are
dream.
you dreaming?
No, someone's dreaming.
Nah, you're dreaming, you know that.
But that didn't go that way.
Thank you.
Me and her's going to get married one day.
Oh, no. 6 children.
We got his stitches in and he went on his way.
For 74-year-old Faye, a trip to the hospital to have her ears syringed has turned into a nightmare.
So no touching, okay?
After breaking her leg in a hospital toilet, she must be flown to Adelaide for surgery. But finding a way to give her pain-relieving drugs for the trip is an operation in itself.
You tell me if you need a break at all.
We've managed to gain access to the vein. The technique that we use is called a cell dinger technique, and essentially the idea is that once you gain access, you can feed a wire into the actual vein itself and then proceedingly dilate the hole that you've got going into the vein bigger and bigger by feeding larger and larger bore tubes over the wire. Eventually you'll get to one that's big enough and through which you can feed the rather large bore tube that's going into the vein now.
Okay. So, Faye, chin right down on the shoulder. Keep it there for me.
This difficult procedure is just the first step on a long road to recovery. Once Faye's broken femur's been realigned in Adelaide, she faces months of rehabilitation.
She's been very humble with everything that we've done to her so far. She has been very non-complaining. She's more worried about how her injury is going to affect her family and her pets and all her other bits and pieces. She's just a very remarkable lady. Hopefully while Faye is in Adelaide, they get to syringe her ears, because I know she was very disappointed that she missed that appointment. But unfortunately we haven't been able to do it as yet, so fingers crossed.
Joseph Bevan, 80-year-old gentleman with current exacerbations of COPD. In the department, working very hard, very tired, gave him back-to-back nebs. He hates the BiPAP machine.
Joseph actually became so distressed by the machine and he actually did worse on it, even though it would vastly improve him.
And now another problem is placing Joseph in even greater danger.
Often in patients that we see who come in with respiratory failure or respiratory disease, emphysema in this case, there's often a cardiac component to their disease as well. We see a picture where the heart is actually failing on top of the respiratory system and they require treatment for both of those conditions.
He's actually got an abnormal heart rate called atrial fibrillation, which just means that one of the chambers of the heart is not conducting the electronic signal through to another side of the heart, well, another area of the heart, which doesn't allow the heart to pump as well. So we need to get that under control, but his blood pressure's also dropped off, so we need to just give him some fluids just to bring that blood pressure up to an acceptable level.
This is a battle Dr. Alex can't win. Joseph will have to be sent to intensive care.
He didn't have a real good, happy childhood, and he's tried to create one for us and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren, and yeah, so it's credit to him. Yeah, he's been a good father, yeah. Yeah, he's done the best he can with what he's had. Yeah. Well, he's just gonna, he'll stay in hospital now for 5 to 7 days. I'll give him steroids, I'll give him antibiotics, I'll pick him back up, and he'll go home. And he'll be back here again in a couple of months, and just go through it again and again and again.
Next time on Outback ER, a young doctor's baptism by fire.
So she's had a bleed.
Alex grapples with 2 critically ill patients.
Got a few minutes? No, I don't. Yeah, you have to wait, sorry.
But a nasty hand injury puts him to the test.
Holy dooly. Whew. That's the first time I've ever done something I've just gone, oh, oy vey.
An accident victim's sudden scare.
It's really a potentially life-threatening situation.
And a troubled teen's heartbreaking tale.
Fear one day, baby. Might fit, and that's the end.